Why do so many of us stay stuck? You hear it all the time. You see it all the time. Same job 30 years, paycheck inflation swallowed immediately. Like, why do half of marriages fail? Why do friendships die off by your 30s, 40s, and 50s? How about this one? Why do generational curses scale while entitlement keeps growing? I got the scoop for you. I found there's a life probability chart to help explain all of it. So if this is your only key takeaway, pay attention. Life and anything you do in it, when viewed by the second, your probability of success is only 50%. It's basically a coin flip. If you zoom out and view life by the year, it's guaranteed to be a 93% success rate. Think about those numbers. Because if you want to raise your odds, stay with me. Because in this episode, we're going to break down why you're losing at life by the second and how to flip it by showing why winners win by holding the long game. We'll also show you how and why to bring you back is to bring God back, further guaranteeing your success in life. So if you've been living on coin flips, this is your map back to covenant. The chart doesn't lie. And before we go any further, here's a reminder of the law. Every second you invest only in the second is compounding failure. Now, let me break this open by being real with you first. I lived BYB in the life chart the wrong way, all the way wrong. I brought back the drunk me at the bottom of bottles. I brought back the lust-driven me hypnotized by porn screens. I brought back the clown me needing water cooler jokes and fantasy sports to feel alive. I brought back the numbed out me, gaming and smoking my nights away. Now, of course, each of those felt like a win in the second. Why else would I do it? But every second was compounding, just like every second compounds. But of course, I wasn't neutral. I was in the negative. I was scaling myself into stagnation, into collapse. That is why marriages fail. This is why friendships fade. This is why you wake up at 50 and realize you've been in the same role with the same money for decades. Because every second invested only in the second compounds into guaranteed failure. So here's your truth. BYB was never meant to bring you back to weakness. It was meant to bring you back to God. And when you bring you back in truth, you bring God back by default. Consciousness is the container. Revival is automatic. So let me get into this chart and let's look at what it says relative to success and failure. If you only view your life by the second, 50% chance. That's a coin flip. Heads, you feel alive. Tails, you feel dead. Live like this long enough and you'll stagnate. Stuck in the same place, same job, same mindset. Because you can't get out of the second. Let's say you zoom out and you're like, how about by the minute? 51%. Technically, that's a little bit better, but you're still tired. That's the fatigue math. You're grinding. Sound familiar? But you're not growing. That's a lot of us. Now, let's say you zoom out by the hour and look at your life. 52% chance of success. Survival math. You're barely holding on, but not really alive. So you look at it by the day, 54% chance of success. You got a slight edge, but exhaustion stacks. You feel like you're moving forward, but you're really just treading water. At this point, your greatest win is basically that you are alive and you'll do this over again tomorrow. and the tomorrow after that, and the tomorrow after that. Now, by the month, here's where momentum finally starts. This is where small consistency starts to feel different. It's sort of like stacking bricks, right? This is also what your favorite influencer will sell you, waiting for you to come back next month because the gains are super marginal and usually superficial relative to success, right? Now, the guarantee by the year, 93% success rate for your life. That's covenant math, pretty much guaranteed. You can't fake this. You either invest long enough to see it or you bail too early and call yourself unlucky. The law is clear. Short-term investment compounds into short-term results. Long-term investment compounds into covenant results. So when you live by the second, doom scrolling news you already know is worthless, chasing dopamine buys, cycling through counterfeit highs, you're not just wasting time, you're building failure into your year. Compound enough seconds and you don't just feel stuck. Guarantee collapse. Once again, that's why marriages fail. That's why friendships fade. That's why checks stay the same. That's why curses repeat. Conversely, that's precisely why winners win. Not because they're smarter, not because they're chosen, but because they compound through the short-term losses. There's a line about this that's so overlooked but immensely powerful. It goes like this. A winner is just a loser who tried one more time. That's powerful, not as motivation, but as math. They invested in short-term pain for long-term promise. That's why the runner runs miles in the rain. That's why the lifter racks weights in silence. That's why the creator posts and posts and posts when nobody's watching. That is why we pray and pray and pray with intentionality. Every rep feels like a short-term loss, but every rep compounds towards covenant success. That is cause and effect. That is rhythm. That's the law of the success chart. And this is where it gets practical because the chart just doesn't describe the math. It describes the moves. If seconds compound failure and years compound covenant, then the only way forward is to shift how you move. That is the work. That's the repair. That's how you BYB, bring you back. That's how you BGB, bring God back. That's how you do you. So let's do you together. 5 moves, 1 identity. We start with disrupt. Break the illusion of neutrality. Seconds aren't harmless. They are compounding failure if you live only in them. And you want to own it. And own BYB, bring you back as sacred. And to bring you back the right way is to bring God back automatically. There's no separation. Then you want to yield and yield to the dips. Downward pressure isn't punishment. It's the setup. Even the trees withdraw in winter before blooming, right? Then you want to observe. Observe the chart. Observe the 99% who sell out early. Don't confuse their stagnation with your probability. Unless, of course, you invest like them. Then you want to unleash. Live at the 93% odds. Bring you back in truth. Bring God back in consciousness. Stack your years, not your seconds. Take this with you. Stop living like your seconds are neutral. They're not. Every second invested only in the second is compounding failure. BYB in the wrong direction, no gusto. That's why careers stagnate, why marriages collapse, why friendships die, why curses repeat, why you feel stuck, why you are not winning. But every time you bring you back in truth, you bring God back. That flips the compounding. That takes you from coin flip odds to covenant odds. Because the chart doesn't lie. Seconds scale failure. Years scale God. BYB is BGB. So bring you back. Bring God back. Because you own it or be owned by it. You either run the system. System runs. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Stay rich.